What is going on, guys? Today we are going to be looking at the best players you can get for under 250,000. So with the keepers, to be honest, a lot of them do kind of sit in the same sort of category. Obviously, we don't have the top two in Prime Yashin and also Team of the Year Van der Sar. We don't even have the Prime Van der Sar. I've chucked him in because if you are looking for an icon keeper, I think Van der Sar, anything other than the base, is where I'd kind of look. But I would say there is better options. Yashin, same deal, obviously 127, 91 rated, he's still going to give you something, but personally they're not my massive two recommendations out of all of these keepers. Casillas, still a very good shout nonetheless, it is the higher version of him, and obviously he is cheaper just purely for the fact that he was or is a Trophy Titans. Donnarumma still makes the shout in my opinion, again 90 rated, unfortunately not seen a higher rated version of him as I do normally like him purely for the fact he is so tall and naturally has always been very good in this game. We then have a few new keepers. Kyle Walker I've chucked in there for the nostalgic vibe rather than anything. 103k kind of tells me what I need to know in terms of a keeper that should be very, very relevant and meta. So I'm going to go off the assumption that people are not a massive fan of him. Even though we've kind of wanted him for so long, the hype for me is going to be not enough for a keeper. Out of all of these, I'd probably be looking at ter Stegen and Kobel as the main two shouts. Mignan, if he got an upgrade in footies, could be the next best thing. And Szczesny is definitely a close third out of most of these keepers on this list. I'd like to tell you about skycoach.gg. They offer many features within the FIFA franchise, from FIFA coins to FIFA Weekend League boosts, from trusted sellers, pro players, and are the best prices on the market currently. They have fast delivery, high quality services, lots of games, and also a cashback program. The more coins you buy, the more eligible you are for cashback options. So if you want to buy FIFA coins at the best price, click the link in the description of this video. It will be active promo code for 10% discount from my subscribers. All you have to use is the code JT11 at the checkout to receive this bonus. On to the video. We then have the fullbacks. Again, with the fullbacks, very much like the keepers in some aspects, a lot of the top fullbacks are relatively low priced anyway, so we're going to see a lot of the same faces in terms of the 250, because predominantly we look at Baude 60, Robertson's 88, Molina's 22,000. It all depends on what you want in your team. I'd say personally for me the best two shouts here is going to be Alfonso for the 92 left back. 81,000 coins is absolutely mental. Right back's a little bit of a different choice. You could, if you wanted to go Davies, you could go Rosaleon from obviously the right back Shapeshifter. Again, not a bad option. 5-4, new card into the game, only 80,000 coins. As obviously we can't have the Prime Carfu. Zaha, for me, is a mix of two, to be honest. I think 80k would be better spent there rather than 210 in my opinion. I feel like Zaha is definitely better in the attacking element rather than necessarily in that defensive. And you can never kind of count out Kyle Walker in them two positions. Obviously, the right back is going to be the more effective role, if you will. But in terms of right backs, there's not too many that I'm like, yes, I need this. And to be honest, I don't know how much Di Lorenzo is, as I may have actually missed him, but throw him in there as well as definitely a great shout as a right back. And then finally for right back, also Orsolini is another great shout. Left back wise, there is a couple. Davies, Mendes would definitely be another one. I do like Capdevia, but I would say now the fantasy foot is probably the kind of way to go with him. Same with Theo. He's through in there mainly. His team of the season's about 330, so he does miss out just on that 250. And Cancelo's already very, very good if he was looking for a Prem left back. I do think Robertson and Cancelo are the two, slightly followed by Zinchenko in a kind of a different way. We then still have some monster centre-backs, not quite the top, which definitely held their price very well. If we start from the bottom here, we have obviously Fofana. Hearing great things about him, to be honest, since obviously he got his max upgrade to 89. Not a bad centre-back at all. Great defensive and physical ability. Still got a good amount of pace. Obviously the shadow is going to sort that out quite a lot. Whether you could compare it to some of the team of the seasons is kind of being up to you really. Bremer, nice and cheap. I think 36,000 now for someone like that is never going to be a bad option. Same with Ochoa, to be honest. Even a shapeshifter, like I've said in the previous videos throughout shapeshifters, the goalkeepers seem to be OP as anything. Whether that changes during footies, whether the switch gets flipped, we'll soon see. But for right now, I definitely think Ochoa is very, very good in that centre-back role. Same with Becker. Absolute unit, and especially if you was going to take the recommendations of the left back, right back, obviously has the I say the strong links to obviously Rosalion, but most definitely same team, so you do get that kind of added bonus for this chemistry. Diaz, definitely still fantastic from this sort of upgrade. Obviously, this was the first step in Diaz's kind of redemption into people's teams. The team of the season is absolutely lovely, but a great pace upgrade. Still got incredible defended and physical. You could definitely rock this Diaz, not a problem. Same with the icons we've got. Carlos Alberto's Prime. Obviously, there is an SBC. Another thing I should add, I've added no SBC players to this, bar from one, and wait and see if you can find out which one that is. But there's only one in it, because I personally don't like putting SBCs, because predominantly most of them have gone, or when you watch this, they could have gone. So talking about him is irrelevant if you haven't already done him. Maldini, Prime, Mid, Foot Birthday, any of them are always fantastic. In-game, Maldini is incredible, and you've just got to respect everything from this card. Desai still, again, you could have got him for free, obviously from last season's rewards, but again, if you chose the pack over him, I don't think anybody would blame you. Blanc, another great option, coming in relatively cheap at 100. Like most of them, this is kind of where the icons now start to really slow down, and it is predominantly your Maldinis, your R9s, your Zidans, because we've got Ake at 65, we've got Saliba at 68, you've even got Tomori at 36. I know I'd want Tomori over Blanc. It's just natural. Tomori is incredibly pace gifted as well as the defending and physical, whereas Blanc is 100,000 coins. It's 70,000 more. It's where the icons need a balance, and I think it's what they've tried to do with obviously the new added themes of Trophy Titans, of Foot Birthday, is you can definitely tell they are cheaper than what they would have been if it was just a standard moments. But definitely all of the team of the seasons here as well are 100% usable. Aki was phenomenal. I do like Saliba. Do I think he's the most efficient? Maybe not, but definitely one that you can consider. And Tomori being 36 is absolutely nuts. Smalling could go alongside for 50, and Medina, most definitely in a Ligue 1 sort of standpoint, is very, very good for 45,000. We then have a few CDMs. I've split them up into CDM as their natural position, even if they can turn to it. Centre mid and cam, obviously. In terms of CDMs, there wasn't many that I'm like, yes, this is the way to go. Sissoko is normally a CDM, obviously can change to a centre mid, but I think all of them give you that natural option. I don't think there's anybody that's absolutely major expensive either. What's Kimmich? 115 is the top, obviously coming in at the top rated. Calvin I threw in there just purely for the fact he's got the 5-5 as well. You'd go with the Shadow, obviously to increase the pace, but also get a good amount on that defending as well. I think he's a solid card. English, Man City, obviously, if you wanted some extra links there. Again, Man City have got, obviously, an incredible team that you can put together, and it could be just a nice piece of the puzzle to put in for a very cheap option. Casemiro, very similar. Brazilian links, obviously Man U links if you've got a Rashford or even a Martinez, I believe, got a shapeshifter the other day. They're just extra little bonuses if you want. Bai was incredible as a CDM for 46,000, an absolute steal with that 3-star, 5-star. Essien as an icon, I think probably one of the better CDM icons you can get right now. And obviously Sissoko, Kimmich. Sissoko's always got a good all-round, bar from shooting this time. And Kimmich, obviously, if you want to make that pairing of a Kimmich and Goretzka, you know what to do. This is where we've got a few more options in terms of centre mid though. There is definitely quite a few top end ones here as well for the price that we are looking at. I'd say definitely the bottom two here, obviously I've gone cheapest to highest here. You've got Marino as 36,000, and yes, not the most eye-pleasing, 3-star, 5-star. You definitely love a 4-5 or at least with obviously being a 93 centre mid, gonna play in that almost box-to-box role, but most definitely for 36, the stats are absolutely brilliant, and I'm kind of going towards the cheaper options to obviously build teams. If you are not necessarily the long-standing player of the game, or obviously haven't grinded team of the season that much, then there is some very good options you can go with. Tonali, another one, great CDM slash centre mid that you've got from his team of the season. You cannot argue, especially if you are running an Italian team or at least a Serie A team. Adiem is one of them ones that I think is so hit and miss. We managed to get him very early on into Team 2, and to be honest, he was okay. I feel like he could definitely do a job. Little bit more expensive than what I'd kind of want. I do think when you look at a lot of these team of the seasons, you could argue between them. Bruno Guimaraes is another one. I do think a cheap option just for the Prem Brazil links, but I wouldn't say he's the best on this list by quite a landslide, to be honest. Benazir, great Serie A, good links to Tonali, and obviously Leao if you manage to get him. There is, again, some beautiful links you can go with him, and he has proven from the fantasy foot, from the road to the knockout, I want to say he got an incredible card that can go forward and also defend. We then have the likes of Verratti and Modric. Modric at 240, Verratti at 150. Both very, very similar players. Obviously, in terms of dribbling, we're maxed out. We've got a great pace increase. The passing's there. The defending physical have taken a next step up. But obviously, with Modric, he has a bit, well, I say a bit more. 9 more shooting in comparison. Are they both 4'5" and a 4'5"? So, comparing them both, how tall are they actually? We've got, what, 5'8" and 5'5". So height-wise, yeah, Modric does go a little bit above and beyond there, but very similar in the play styles. We have got Llorente, who's definitely not talked about enough. 100,000 coins, and I've put him from a right mid to a centre mid as he does not belong on the wing. He is a centre mid at the very minimum. You could argue right back, but centre mid is where I'd love to play him. 4'4", great stats all round, very much like Armand Goretzka over here, who's coming in at 150 more. And again, like I said with Goretzka, if you've already got Alfonso, you've got a Kimmich, you've got a Rosalion, a Becker, even a ter Stegen in net, there is a beautiful shout to have him in that middle. And just look at the stats. For 150, 90 and above on everything is stunning. The only thing that kind of goes against him is that 3-star skill move, which as a 4 would have just been perfect. And I'm not saying he needs it for the skills, but the agility bonus that, or at least the quickness of his turning that gets from that bonus of an extra skill move is immense. Then obviously the back line, we have Barella, great card for the Serie A, and this is what I did like from the Serie A. They really went all out for everybody to want some cards from it. Tonali, Benazir from Community, Barella, Leao, Osimhen. There is a lot of good cards, and 200,000 is not bad again for a centre mid. We've had to throw in Keane, is an SBC player as well, but you obviously can get him just very, very easily off that SBC. Not a problem whatsoever. Fofana coming in at 28. I think that is an absolute steal in itself. Centre mid, CDM, he works in absolute wonders, and the physicality bonus you get on him is incredible. But one that I was very surprised to see here is do we scrap him? He was 250 on the line when I got him. May have jumped up a little bit, so okay, by the time we've done it, so 10 minutes of putting these teams together, he's gone up 15,000 coins. Don't shoot me, but 250 was what he was going at. We'll ignore that if I can just put my hand over it. I can't believe that he's that cheap even so. I thought 400 is an absolute minimum from him because he is just a beautiful centre mid. He can go up, he can go down, the physical's there, the dribbling's there, the passing's there. He is spot on, and a link with Modric would be perfect. 500,000 for the two of them. Job's done, really. Very much like the CDMs, we haven't got too many cams either. I've kind of brought in Di Maria there to obviously be a cam more so than a centre forward, as I just don't feel like he fits as much in a striker than he does as a winger slash centre forward. And because we were low on cams, we needed an extra one in here. Petit, another one that definitely looks like he's had a massive upgrade. The weak foot again, and unfortunately, is what's really going to hold this price back. And I do think the centre-back version is the better out the two, but still never a bad shout if you did manage to get him. I think the dynamic alone is 100,000 coins easy. Simons and Talisca, you could argue that you could get him into the team, but most definitely at the very minimum, very good super subs. But they do have the major nations, so that's always going to be an absolute bonus when playing with them. Talisca with a 5'4", and I think Simons with a 4-4, unfortunately, but definitely watch out for this kid, because if he does carry on, he could be getting a big move and also a big card in FIFA very, very soon. Neymar, on the other hand, is Neymar. We had to throw in his inform. He's still 5'5", still could be used to this day, may not be as effective as, obviously, Team of the Seasons, but it's Neymar. He's got that dribbling ability. He's got his own run. He's got his own skills. He is perfect. So any version of him could definitely do well with the right user in hand. Then we have some silky wingers, most definitely. For the price that you're paying, I'd happily take most of these. If you are looking at under 250, and most of them are under 250, you would take it. We've put Garrincha, and obviously, what is with everybody's prices? He was 245 when I looked. So we'll scrap off Garrincha for the moment. If he does go back to 250, an absolute steal for 250. You obviously have Best at 200. They both do have better versions now, but both of their versions are mega expensive in comparison, especially Garrincha. The interesting part though between these two is the fact both of them technically was under 250, but Jairzinho's base is not under 250. That just shows you the levels right there. Gnabry is obviously an SBC player? Okay, we scrapped that off. I didn't realise that. We'll go away from him. Coleman, 200. Beautiful. Harry Kewell, loved him at the start. Probably a little bit less compared to some of the Team of the Seasons now. But most definitely, I do think could hold his own, to be honest. I think he's definitely still a good player that you can go with. One that I was absolutely in love with, Frankowski. He is a premium shapeshifter as well, so don't need any links into the Ligue 1 as well, which is just absolutely perfect. Obviously, Samba is going to be the big link for him if you did want some links to kind of go off him, but he's got a French link anyway, so that's not really going to do too much difference. But Frankowski down the wing is beautiful. The pace is immense, great dribbling, does have a little bit of a shot on him as well, which is always perfect, and can obviously go both versions. Left wing, right mid, left mid. Absolutely spot on. Again, only real difference is no 4-star weak foot. Martinelli, I always think is a great super sub, especially when the Prem came out, was a beautiful card. Obviously has the pace very much like Frankowski, but doesn't necessarily have the shooting at the same sort of level, but still could put in some in the net. The only problem with Martinelli was Saka could play left as well. With Salah on the right, Saka inevitably was always going to be pushed to the left if that came, and what it did in my team. And then also obviously some cards that came after that, for instance Shapeshifter Lynx. He is just beautiful, and again a premium shapeshifter, but his objective has gone by now. Sane, another great option if he was looking between Coleman and obviously himself. I can't believe Gnabry was an SBC. I really didn't see that popping up. But again, still a cracking player for 22,000 coins. You're getting good pace, 4-star, 4-star. You can never argue with anybody who's 22,000 coins. Son was one throughout the whole of this year. 73,000 now is crazy for a Son. If you're a Spurs fan, you're absolutely laughing for the price there. You throw in a Harry Kane, who's already really cheap. You've got your best two players. Nice and easy. Very good for the past and present Tottenham player. But 4-star, 5-star, you can't argue. Left wing striker, you can easily get him in a team and he will still do wonders. And then finally, Pedro Goncalves as 81,000. Great super sub at the very, very minimum. But there's plenty of Portuguese players nowadays that can ruin a team. And he can be the main left wing that really puts in that shift. Then finally, we have the strikers. And honestly, I'm going to check it first. Thank you. 249. He was 250 bang on the nose. But mid Eusebio, 250 is incredible. He obviously already is still as good as you'd like. He can still hang with all of these. Obviously, it is technically the worst Eusebio out of the bunch. Base is better, Prime, and obviously his FUT birthday in the end. But still an incredible card if you've never used him before. 250 is a great price for him. Romarinho, lovely super sub. I'd say that personally is it for him. He is very much a super sub with his pace and obviously dribbling abilities. We have Harry Kane, who is great for 68,000. If you've used him, and obviously the SBC that was intended to be in here is going to be Czech. Czech is just stunning. He's everywhere. As soon as you log into a game, you see the helmet on him, you know that Czech is going to score a goal or two against you. He is just so OP, it is stupid. We've managed to finish him off, and we're going to give him a good go during champs and see what all this hype is about. But he has scored far too many goals against me, and his just stride is just crazy. But Kane as well is still very, very hot striker. Like Lewandowski, they're both very similar in their sort of roles. Obviously the more bulkier strikers, but still have that pace. But the shooting ability on both of them is insane. And I've put the award winner there just to be different. Pepe, another great option for 37k. Never going to argue with a 93 centre forward that can obviously play striker, and again, you can put him on a wing if you wanted to change him in game. But I do think the pricing for him is not a problem whatsoever. We then have a couple of team of the seasons. David, Ben Yedder, Martinez being the most expensive out of the few. You've got, what, 200, you've got 172, and finally at 150. Again, all of them are top-end strikers. Great pace upgrade, nice rating, good shooting. What have we got skill-wise? 4-5, 4-5, 4-4. So you got the arguments between the weak foot. Ben Yedder is going to be the number one out of them in my opinion, just purely from the fact his in-game ability is insane. From the gold card to an inform to a player of the month, all the way to the team of the season. He is nasty to play against. Then we have the pairing that had to be involved. Mbappe being 96,500, being the final gold to go sub 100 at this point in the game is crazy good. Still, you could argue you could play with him. I've not got rid of mine yet, but he isn't necessarily in the game as much now, just because you want to try out and test new strikers as we go forward. As to be honest, what's the point? Not now. We've got literally 2 months, 3 months until the next game. You may as well give a go to these new 96 and above cards. And obviously with Messi, it's Messi. He's still got the 4-4, not quite his team of the season, but you can always give him a go at the very minimum. And who doesn't love an inform Messi nonetheless? That's going to be the list of them. 250k and under, bar from 2, and obviously Czech was the only SBC player. Let me know down below your favourite card in this group. Make sure you do like and subscribe on it though, and check the video out on screen, and I'll catch you all for the next one. Peace.